Hey, you guys, let's get into the present simple today. Like we usually do when we do verb tenses, we are going to look at form, form, use, and we're also going to practice together. It's useful to have a pen and paper around to take notes, but most importantly, also for the practice, of course. All right, let's go into form. So the form of the present simple, we usually teach people the shit rule for that one. And the shit rule means that she, it gets an extra S. All the other forms are the stem of the verb. The stem of a verb is very easy to find in English. In a dictionary, you usually find the stem of the verb. In your word list, it might say to dance, for instance, and then the stem of the verb is dance. Um, so basically, it's a dictionary form of the verb. Now, what does it look like then when we conjugate, when we do all the forms of the present simple then? Well, I've made you a little list right there. I dance, you dance, he, she, it dances, we dance, you dance, and they dance. And that's the whole thing. So basically, you really need to pay attention to the he, she, and it form. And all the other forms are pretty simple, pretty straightforward. It's important to realize that sometimes it doesn't say she, but for instance, a girl's name like Mary, or it'll say John, um, and then you still need to use the she form. So it's not just if, it's the word she. Um, Now, if you would like to write all these things down, because I can imagine that you might want to, you can also press on pause down there and then write things down. And then when you're ready, you start me again. For now, I'd like to get into some spelling exceptions because there are a couple of spelling exceptions. The first one is what we call the sibilants. Sibilants in Dutch are called sisklanken. They are all the sounds that make you go shh, shh. So yeah, basically, you're hissing. If that's the case, at the end of the verb and you wanted to add an S, we add ES. So for instance, the verb to box is I box, you box, he, she, it boxes with ES, because otherwise we get a box, and I don't think that's anything. The other rule that you want to know is when there's a consonant and then a Y at the end of a word, you don't get YES, but you get IES. For instance, tries ends in a Y, and before that we have the letter R. And the letter R is a consonant, and the Dutch word for consonant is medeklinker. That means that we spell the she form of to try TRIES, tries. Then there are the two verbs do and go, and do and go both end in O, and in general, all verbs that end in an O get ES. So it's he does and he goes, she does, she goes, so on and so forth. The last one is a bit of a trickier one, and we don't really talk about it a lot. But there is a group of verbs that doesn't have any forms. They are called modal auxiliaries, modale hulpwerkwoorden. Um, you might recognize them from the special verb explanation if you've done that one. But it's not he cans, it's he can. And he may and he shall and he will. But those, don't worry about those too much. Focus on the sibilant, the consonant, and the do-go rule. And rule number 4, it's not so important. For now, I would like to carry on with the questions and negation. Questions and negation in the present simple are quite tricky. Here in this video, I will keep it very, very, very short. If you'd like to know more about it, I will produce one about this topic soon, which will go into it at great length because it's really quite complex. But if you already know how to do it and you just need a quick refresher, here we go. Special verbs in the present simple behave like in Dutch. So it's I am a teacher, am I a teacher? Oh yeah, like in Dutch, we swapped around the subject and the verb. And the negation, I am not a teacher, gets not behind the verb. So this is the simple way of doing it. Then there are all those other verbs, which is most of them, and they get do and does and don't and doesn't. After do does, don't doesn't, we always use a full verb. I can't say that often enough, I think. But what do I mean with that? Let's go into it. So if I have the sentence I dance, then the question is, do I dance? Because I use do for I. If you think of the list that you know, maybe of the do forms, then it's I do. So do I dance? And the negation is I don't dance. This is basically for all of them, right? Because it's also do you dance? You don't dance. Do we dance? We don't dance. Again, the only exception is he, she, and it. He dances is not do he dance, but it's does he dance. And there you see that it's important to notice that after the he, we see the full verb. The stem of the verb, it's the same thing in this case. So please pay attention to that. It's does, where you have the S, and then the second verb in the sentence dance does not have an S at the end. Same applies for negation. He doesn't dance. Doesn't plus a full verb. So don't say he doesn't dances. No, it's he doesn't dance with a full verb. Okay, it's time to practice all this because that was a lot of blah, blah, blah talking. So let me give you 7 sentences for you to practice. Put me on pause down there, please. And when you're ready, start me. All right, you've started me again, so that means you must be done. We're going to get into the answers then. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what are you supposed to do? Well, in the first sentence, we have day, and day is nothing special, so we just get work, the stem of to work. In the second sentence, we have the we form, and again, there's nothing special with that one, so we love watching puppy videos. I really do. In number 3, we get a he form. There we go, it's happening. It's also a verb that ends in a sibilant, wish. So it's wishes with es. Then in number 4, we have to do a negation, and swim is a normal verb, so we get you don't swim. In 5, a question for an I form, again for a normal verb, so do I play? In 6, a she form of a word, cry, that ends in a Y, and before that it has a consonant, so the RY there. That means it's cries with IES. And in the last one, a negation of a he form, he doesn't get my ideas at all, and please note it's get, so there's no S behind that, doesn't get. Perhaps you want to practice more because 7 sentences is nothing, and if you're quite new to the topic, then you probably need a bit more practice. There is a website. Oh, let me try and point at it. Where's my hand? There we go. There we go. It's called Engels Glaslokaal. And if you go to the page on the simple present or present simple, same thing, it's got loads and loads and loads of material for you. So big recommendation. If you work with new interface, then this website is great anyway because it's got all the vocab quizzes and all the grammar on it as well. Okay, first let's carry on with the use of the present simple. That means that we're going to discuss when do we use a present simple, what does it mean when we use a present simple. Okay, so there are 2 main reasons for you to know, and there's a third one that you don't really need to know unless you're in your year 4, 5, or 6. Okay, let's have a look. The first one is that we use a present simple for habits. And a habit means it's an action that you do regularly, never or always. So in Dutch, we would call that a gewoonte. An example of that is I always love seeing art. The second reason to use a present simple is facts. Facts means feiten in Dutch. A fact could be water boils when it's hot, and we use present simple in those cases. The third hidden reason that's only important if you're already in upper school is that it's also used for the future when something goes according to a schedule, like a bus leaves at 8. If you are in year 1, 2, or 3, please ignore that one. Don't look at it. Just reason 1 and 2 are important for you. There are great keywords for this one. And keywords were those words that we try and look at when we are trying to do a mixed tense assignment, so that we can figure out which verb tense we need to use. The verb tenses, the keyword for this verb tense are all words of regularity, because remember, it's something we do regularly. It's a habit. So whenever you say in a sentence that you do something regularly, regelmatig, then it's a keyword for the present simple. Some examples that are very frequently used are always, never, sometimes, often, regularly, every Sunday. But the list is really, really long. I could make a list with maybe 100 words on it. Just remember that it's a category of words and not so much a list of words. Okay, I've spoken enough. I think it's time for you to practice a little bit. For these 6 sentences, you need to do 2 things. First of all, I would like you to find the keyword in the sentence. Mind you, there is one sentence that does not have a keyword. Then you need to fill in the form. So you complete the sentence using present simple. So find keyword, fill in the form, press pause right there, and start me again when you've done that. Okay, I think you're ready because you pressed play again. Let's have a look at the answers. In sentence number 1, our keyword is every day, elke dag. So yeah, that sounds like a regular thing. He drives to work every day. He plus the S because it's a he form. So we get drives. In 2, we have a negated sentence, but first of all, the keyword that you need to highlight, which is very often, erg vaak, and then a negation of to read. It's a he form as well. Oh wow, there's so many things in there. But basically, it becomes doesn't read, doesn't read. And mind you, again, that is read and not reads. In 3, our keyword is regularly, regelmatig. I can't make it any more literally than that. Then in 3, it's you need to do the verb form as well, which is does she party? Because it's does because of the she subject, and it was a question, so it's formed like that: does before the subject and party after it. In 4, every winter is our keyword, and it's a she form. There's no negation or a question going on this time, so we just add our go to our shit rule, I should say, and we add our s. But because catch ends in a sibilant, a sh sound, you add es in this case, so it's catches with es at the end. Number 5 is our only sentence without a keyword. It's a fact, and facts don't usually have keywords in them. It's a fact that they play hockey at school. That's just the way it is. It's a day form, so you get play and nothing special or fancy going on. In 6, our final one, our keyword is every week, and it's a question, so it's do Jim and Joe water the flowers every week? Well, a lot of information. I'm sure you want to practice more. I will just repeat once again that there is something called Engels Klaslokaal, and it is full of exercises that are very, very useful. So please go on and check that one out. For now, we're going to wrap this one up. Maybe I'll see you in some of the other videos. If not, bye-bye.